everybody. Welcome to the Three Geeks podcast. It is Jason, joined by Justin, Mike, and Dan. And a little later on, we got Tim joining us today. How's everybody doing?
Good. I love watching Mike stick his head out of the intro. I just saw him peeking over. I was like, that's good.
Can't give me that. You can't give me even a little bit of window because I'll make use of it.
Speaking of the intro,
Yeah,
I gave you a new theme like 2 months ago, JT.
I'm pretty sure I forwarded it to Justin. I'll have to double check.
yeah. I'll take the fault. I don't remember.
I mean, if you don't want it, that's fine. We can use generic drum and bass for the rest of the podcast. It's fine.
Just passing the buck along. And be like,
I have no idea. I don't even know what time it is today. But we're here to talk to all of you. I clocked us in a little early because none of us could stop talking about the things that we liked this week. So I'm like, let's just go live now and let's do our thing. But I'm excited because today at 3:30 or 3:15, we are recording a new episode of Remake Revolution, which we have not done in quite a while. And the original plan was to have some nobodies versus the team that they won to in the Remake Madness we had last year, but that team dropped out. So they will be taking on Team 3 Geeks today. And I can't wait. I don't know when we're going to release it. It'll be sometime in the next week or two, but it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm going to play judge and
Jury.
Announcer, even though
Executioner.
Just dread.
No, she's not Judge Judy and Executioner.
I love that movie so much. Yes, it is. Hey.
But yeah, we're here to talk to you guys about whatever you want to talk to us about. Send it in the comments. We're going to be talking some Star Trek when Tim joins us because Tim finally likes the Star Trek series. And lots of other fun. Well, Tim's always a Star Wars guy, but he's never really been a Star Trek fan. But he really likes the new one that just came out.
The one that has 2 episodes out?
Yeah, he likes it so far.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
Gotta start somewhere.
Yeah.
Christopher Walken's the Emperor.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that.
That sounds amazing. I love that
My June.
I've got that little side thing on my phone where it gives me like crappy ad Google News, and it was like crap. Thanos dude that played Gurney Halleck was like, oh, I was surprised I wasn't in the first part, for much, and it's like, have you read the other movie? Have you read the book? I mean, you're supposedly dead for like half the book, then you come back later.
Yeah, you're very much a surprise character. Yeah.
You get a poke.
Yeah. You don't get a cool drill to the head though, and then come back like 3 books later.
Talking about Momoa.
Yes. But I love that he's a samurai in the new one, but I kind of missed the whole drill shot from the '84 one because that's amazing. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, Dune 2. We got some Dune 2 news, which was all exciting.
Yeah.
Anytime you see the name Christopher Walken, you're glad for many, many reasons. One, that he's still around, and 2, that he's in the movie.
Did they announce who played what's his name? Who was playing what's his name? Fade?
No, I don't think so.
I thought I might have seen something, but I can't remember exactly.
That'd be cool to know, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't really search for it, but I read the Christopher Walken article, and it didn't say anything.
Because there's all those jokes of like, oh, get Tom Holland to do it just so we can have Zendaya's pretty white boy fight.
Nice.
But yeah, so much to talk about. I saw everything everywhere all at once, and I'm going to look up the cast list right now on IMDb because I'm getting really tired of just calling this guy Data all day. Because I went and saw the movie, and I'm like, oh my god, this guy's voice hasn't changed since he was 8. Like, he is the exact same voice.
Yeah,
he's still walking around with a fanny pack.
He's a castrati. That's what happened. He just he's stuck with the same young singing voice for the rest of his life.
I saw that movie too. I loved that movie. That was one of my favorite movies of the year.
I walked out of the theater and I'm like, I think I liked that movie. I needed to process it because the movie's a lot and the end is very deep. So I had to like process what's happening. And I love the movie as well. And everybody out there that is comparing this to Doctor Strange, y'all need to just like shut up. They're not the same thing. They're not even close. The only thing these two movies have in common is the word multiverse is used in both of them. That's it. That's all that's in common. And I really like everything.
I will say the imagination and everything everywhere all at once, I think it really goes for broke when you do if you do compare it to, say, Doctor Strange. Like, their multiverses are a trip, whereas we only get like 1 or 2 multiverses with Madness, and it's like, oh, lights are green means stop, lights are red means go, pizza balls. Isn't that weird? Whereas this is like hot dog fingers.
I know. Oh man, I laughed so hard at the hot dog
salad fingers.
Ki Hugh Kwan is the name of the guy who played Data, and this is a great comeback movie for him. I am so excited that he's decided to jump back into acting.
Comeback movie after like 20
from Indiana Jones.
Like, it was suave. He was suave in that one multiverse.
He was great.
I was expecting him to be like, okay, Dr. Jones, hold on to your potatoes.
Yeah, I like this movie. I liked him. He was a standout. And Jamie Lee Curtis was hysterical in all of the multiverses.
I agree.
Yes.
I actually like the young actress who played the villain. I was like,
yeah, she was great.
She's really good.
Stephanie Sue is her name.
Am I crazy in thinking like it felt a lot like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? Like, it had the same, like, it's not the same movie, but it like the atmosphere it brought, it felt
it has a sensibility maybe with the humor.
Yeah.
Quite a bit, yeah.
In some ways,
now you're selling it for
buddy
me.
cop feel to it as well. It's got a lot of things going on. I think that's why it took me a few days to process my feelings on the movie. But the story is deep. It's a deep mother-daughter story, especially the ending. And I really dug it. I really liked it a lot. Anytime I see A24, there's like a certain like expectation you have to get your mind into. Like, I'm going into something that might be a little weird, and this movie just did not disappoint on any level.
It's their highest grossing one so far, I believe. Their highest grossing release so far. So I liked that Detective Crashmore is like a tertiary character. The dude with the beard, Santa Claus. Like,
yeah.
He's just a background character. I'm like, I was the only one in the theater. It was like, that's Detective Crashmore from I Think You Should Leave. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to talk about this movie without getting into spoiler territory, but it's a lot of fun. And they mentioned the hot dog for fingers universe, and I loved it. There's a little nod to 2001: A Space Odyssey in that sequence as well, and I love this movie. It was fantastic. I can't wait to see it again because it's probably the funniest thing I've seen this year. Also,
I'll give it that. Yeah.
The first act is very funny. Then it gets pretty serious, I think. Like, there's a pivot in tone for sure.
And what's his name? He just got a star, right, on the Walk of Fame. Was it
James Hong?
James Hong, yeah.
Yeah.
He's really good too. It's like the grandfather.
Yeah, James Hong from.
He was really good. I liked him a lot in this too.
And by the way, congratulations on your star on the Walk of Fame.
Yeah,
James.
there you go.
Well,
Absolutely. And
worked his ass off for decades.
Yeah.
It's like,
we did not mention Michelle Yeoh, who was she carried this movie on her back, and she did a fantastic job carrying it as well.
She's used to that.
Yeah, she's good in almost everything, I think.
Oh, yeah. I liked her quite a bit in this.
Yes.
So
So the cast is great. Check it out if you guys can find a theater that's showing it. Go support it at your local theater. It's definitely a theatrical experience. I don't know if it'll play the same way in home video, but I'm sure it will just fine. But I definitely would try to see it in theaters.
won't stop me from getting it. Like,
No, me too.
It plays backwards on home video, so it turns into Memento.
I've liked a lot what these directors have done so far. The Daniels, they did Swiss Army Man a couple years ago. Now I really like Swiss Army Man. That was like a really good, surreal, trippy type of movie that, like you said, gets deep halfway through and works. But
yeah, I want to see that. I heard it's good.
Give the Daniels a Marvel movie, because that's what happens now.
Yeah, give him Spider-Man 11. Great.
Oh God.
Give them the Eternals. Let's see what they do with it. All right, everybody. Justin, Dan, and I, we play a game called Fate. And Justin's character was a guy who was just so bored in life that he died and never realized it and just kept digging holes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was his entire character.
A grave digger. for sure.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine being so bored that you don't even notice you die?
I'm starting to get there now, Jason.
Can't wait to hear the comments for this one.
Yeah.
He was like the Eeyore of our game. He had a shovel, and he didn't go anywhere without a shovel. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was kind of refreshing not to play a person that was expected to solve things. Like I tried to help, but I was like, I don't know if like, in character I really need to. Like,
Justin is our best player at those games, and then we ended up choosing a really dumb character for him. So we're like nowhere in our campaign to play Fate at all.
well, that's also the point of Fate, right? Because the whole table kind of builds your characters. So
yeah, I want to bring it up because I want to recommend it to everybody out there to check out Fate.
Yeah, when you're learning how to play, just look it up on YouTube because the actual Fate manual does a really shitty job teaching you how to play. It's great for reference. It's not good in like you do this, and this, and that happens. Like, it's the same like it's an evil hat thing. Like it's the same thing in Monster of the Week. Like combat in that makes absolutely no sense if you go by the book. It's like I don't know what the hell we're supposed to do. So there you go.
I'd really like to do what Funny Science Fiction did, which was do a campaign online. The only problem with our campaigns is Dan is a great storyteller, but it's the rest of us that just giggles for so long that like nothing happens for like 4 hours. I don't know how well that would translate to.
I mean, Critical Role has made a lot of money being 4 hours long.
Yeah.
Not to say we were Critical Role, but
no,
very cool happening.
Yeah.
Critical Role's players are focused. We're far from focused.
No, they're not.
They can break at times. It's like, yeah, they break.
I'm just saying, if
lot.
you provide something that people actually enjoy watching, they don't mind a 4-hour watch time.
Well,
we should do it on Twitch.
You guys did do a 14-minute short for me months ago, and that's pretty entertaining.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I really like that one.
Spliced together a very entertaining story amongst the three of you.
Yeah, we should do that on Twitch. It'd be fun.
That's right. Mike,
I'd be okay doing
more movies. I want you to make a full feature movie, Mike, and put me in like a 2-minute role. Just be like, hey guys, what's up?
Just wait till July.
Okay.
Is that when you're back in town?
Hooray.
Is that a tease? All right. I like it when Mike comes to town. We always have a lot of fun. He always has some creative thing for us to do, and it's fun.
So long as I stay healthy until then. Knock on wood.
I hope you stay healthy.
We got 2 months.
Yeah, really.
No, I'm not. I'm saying because COVID is still out.
Yeah, I'm with you. Just like, if I'm alive in 2 months,
we're
gonna do stuff. I'm just kidding.
I thought we cured COVID.
Don't wish me happy birthday. I've only got months left.
Oh no! This is turning dark.
You're your happy birthday.
This is going to line up with a Strange New Worlds thing. I'm having a pipe situation right now.
Oh, God.
The timetable is significantly.
Save it for Tim.
Save it for Tim. I'm saving it for Tim.
I do want to take a second and remember Fred Ward, the actor who was in Tremors. He also came back for Tremors 2, and he was in Escape from Alcatraz. Actually, reading about Fred Ward's passing, and Justin was with me. I'm like, I'm going to reach out to Larry because they were in movies together. I'm like, I haven't heard from Larry in like a month. I'm going to see if he's okay because, they similar ages and so forth. But yeah, Fred Ward, he's one of those actors that we've seen in so many different things. And
usually is like henchman number 1, like.
Yeah. He's a character actor for sure. I like Naked Gun 33 1/3.
Yes, indeed.
He's doing a butthead impression.
That's awesome. I didn't realize he was in that. I'm looking at it. I saw Thunderheart with him in it. We had to watch that in school with him and Val Kilmer.
Wow.
Why
did you watch that in school?
Why did you watch it in school?
High school. We watched it in, I can't remember what class. I think Native American Studies, I think.
Really?
We also watched Dances with Wolves, I think, too. Because why not?
Yes. The most accurate.
Yeah.
Of course.
Of course.
All right, this next guest needs no introduction. You guys know him as the host of Funny Science Fiction and Pop Culture Addicts, along with the more talented Kathleen Wass. It is Tim Katheen.
My man speaks truth. I can't knock it.
What a bad
There's a
game
reason
to
why.
come
Hey, I keep Kathleen around for a reason. So,
How you doing, bud?
I'm doing all right. How are you guys?
Doing well.
Doing good, man. I told the guys that hell froze over and you like some more Star Trek.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. I feel very out of my depth with it, but I legitimately can't wait for episode 3. I've enjoyed the first 2 episodes of Strange New Worlds that much.
I've been telling you that News Trek feels more like Star Wars-y and that you'd probably get into it. And
actually, I didn't even think it felt Star Wars-y. I just thought it was a really good story, really well told. And I have to admit, I have to adjust to the dude that's playing Spock because I've never seen Spock that big and buff, and I've never seen Spock with that deep of a voice. Yeah. I can't do the deep voice, but Ethan Peck is a great actor. He does a really good job at the role. I think he's studied it tremendously. That's pretty obvious. But
he comes from certain stock too, being a Peck, Gregory Peck's grandkid.
Oh yeah.
Really?
That's always going to help, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I
where he got the years.
I still can't believe I there's something Star Trek where I'm like, ooh, can't wait to watch this. So
it's funny because on Discovery, because his character was on that show as well. And
is it? Okay. Which I should have known because I had a guest from Discovery. I'm a bad host.
The main character of Discovery is his stepsister. But they keep showing clips of old Leonard Nimoy as like his future self. And it's like, you guys are not canonically, these are way too close in years for him to go looking like that guy to the guy from the 60s. And I know why they're doing it. It harkens back, pulls on the memory strings, but maybe just stop.
Is he gonna mess up his teeth for Leonard Nimoy? Did he look like Nimoy did in the original series before he got his teeth capped?
Like if they had done that with Quinto and Leonard, I'd believe it more. But this guy does not look like Leonard Nimoy in that same sense. So just let him be his own character because I think he's doing fine with the role.
He's doing great, honestly. The way he portrays Spock, I've watched enough Trek over the years that I can't say like I'm a Trek expert. I'm not even close to saying that, but because that would be a lie. But I watched enough Trek over the years where you get to realize Spock's character and the way that he acts and the logic that he tries to, go after and all these different things as he portrays himself. And I do think that Ethan Peck is doing a very good job of showing the logical side of Spock because, here he is, he's learning all these different things about the human side of him, Excuse me, goodness. He's learning the human side of him, but at the same time, he's showing the Vulcan side of him and how those things clash. And there's a really great point in there in episode 2 where he lets the human side of him show a little bit with laughter. So I'm still kind of surprised that I was talking to another buddy of mine last night, and he's like, "So what are you thinking about?" I'm like, "I'm thinking I can't wait for episode 3. I'm really into the show already," and it's weird. It's very weird, very, very weird for me. It's a weird time, 2022.
I think you'll like Discovery too. Knowing you, I think you'll like Discovery because you like all the JJ movies, correct?
I did enjoy the JJ Trek.
Yeah, you'll like Discovery
because that is Star Wars, just with the Star Trek insignias on it.
Yeah, I watched the first episode this morning because I was in a headspace. I'm like, oh, let's give Strange New Worlds a shot, and it really did pick up my mood quite a bit because it felt like an optimistic Star Trek franchise.
Yeah.
Which the new Trek for me, I've seen a little bit of the first season of Discovery, and I was kind of like, okay, this is something different. I don't know if it's really something I'll respond to. I saw the first season of Picard all the way through, and I'm like, this is kind of depressing and weird. Second season, I've seen clips of. I'm like, this just looks weird outright. And then with this one, I had some trepidation, but I was like, you know what? I like this first episode. I like what's his name, Black Bolt, who plays Pike. Mm-hmm. It's good to hear him speak.
Yeah,
and not murder people.
And get something good.
And actually, that same feeling it continues into episode 2. It transfers really well from episode 1 into episode 2, and character development has been nice.
like to go back to the Picard though, because the first season's rather bleak, but it has a story.
Yeah.
The second season is just a giant train wreck.
I've heard it's very unfocused.
That I can't not like, because I like John Delancey coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Like that whole part was cool, but then you got to deal with like evil Data, who's not Data, but is creator dude, and you get a con stinger at the end, and it's just like, oh,
They do that. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, there's a con stinger in the main cast of Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, I know.
There's Star Trek Picard. Did you like that Wesley Crusher came back?
I actually like that part. Like, see, I can't say it sucks, because it does its fan service well enough to get me go like that's cool. I like that happened, and the ending of Q and Picard is actually kind of nice, and I dig that. But the whole there's a whole arc with like 7 of 9 and stuff that I could have done without.
Yeah.
So,
my main thing,
yeah.
it was with Whoopi Goldberg guest starring, where I'm like, you got a younger actress to play young Guinan when Guinan doesn't age, and Whoopi Goldberg pretty much looks the same as she did in the original show. I felt you could just like make her up in different wardrobe or shoot,
No, see, because they time travel back to our time.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't know that part. I just
Yeah,
saw young Guinan, and I'm like, wait a minute. She played young Guinan in The Next Generation when she was like meeting with Mark Twain and stuff. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah. But this is they go back in time using the Borg Queen to calculate, because for some reason they made a history, or they made a new future where Picard is an evil general, and he just as the human race, he just slaughters everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Which I could kind of get behind for like a series, but they only had like one episode of that.
Yeah, that was the episode I saw. He had the trophy room with the skulls, right?
Yeah.
Was one of those skulls his adversary / partner in the, what was it, Dothmok, the language one, the language episode?
I think so.
I was like, oh, that's sad, because they actually, like.
Yeah, like I thought that was a really cool like idea to explore that they never really did. So I don't know.
I've heard mixed feelings about Picard season 2 from even the people that I know that liked season 1 like I did. And then I liked making the joke that like Wesley Crusher, like they kept inviting him to do after shows, but never actually wanted him back on the show. And then now he's back on the show. So I feel good for Will Wheaton. He seems like a really nice gentleman, and as long as you don't contact his wife for interviews, and
well, you really shouldn't do that.
Yeah, no, not at all. But
oh boy.
Yeah.
So would you look at the time? There's a thing I gotta go do.
You did great.
Tim, Dan, and Mike, have you guys watched Lower Decks yet?
Yeah.
I've watched 1 or 2 episodes, nothing to formulate. I saw snippets. I've watched more of Prodigy than I have of Lower Decks. Let's put it that way.
Dan, did you like Lower Decks?
I really like Lower Decks, actually. It's a nice, I don't know, it's a nice little comedy that just happens to happen in Star Trek, but there's enough like decent in jokes and stuff, and there's enough actual decent drama between the cast to keep it interesting. So
yeah, and I like Riker when he pops up a few times. He does.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
What a nice turnaround, because I think when we first watched the first episode, we were calling it Star Trek Upper Decker. Like we were people did not like it.
Also, Scott. Scott's
That took a second, but I got it. Okay.
I'm one of the rare people that doesn't really like Rick and Morty, and the first episode was very Rick and Morty.
Yeah,
and then it starts to get a little bit more. It finds its voice in the second and third episode for sure.
You know what I discovered? Kind of adjacent to that, one of the writers on Doctor Strange was a writer for Rick and Morty, so
makes sense.
That makes sense now.
That does make sense. And I gotta say, I love Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi's friendship. Like I really, really do. I think those two guys are probably the most loyal to each other in films, and I just like that Bruce gets to play in these worlds. And I don't understand why Bruce isn't more famous in these worlds regularly, why it always has to be a cameo. But when he does show up in a cameo, I think Doctor Strange was my favorite Bruce Campbell big budget cameo. So
maybe he just doesn't want to be like on set for like a month. You know what I mean? Maybe he's just like, hey, just throw me in for a minute. Let's just do a thing.
That's fair. He likes to do Bruce Campbell stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He put in his time in the early Raimi days getting like splashed with blood and guts 24/7. So
hit in the face of trees.
Yeah.
And he did recently too with Ash vs. Evil Dead, and he says he's retired from getting blood splashed in his face because he almost drowned on season 2 of Evil Dead.
Oh wow!
For Ash vs. Evil Dead.
I really liked that show. I was kind of bummed they canceled it. It didn't get canceled, right? I know it's done, but
it lasted as long as it needed to last. Like they came back, they gave the fans exactly what the fans wanted, and they left, and everybody was really happy with the series. And I mean, I hope I see Bruce Campbell again as Ash at some point. I know we're getting an Evil Dead game in the next month or so.
Yeah.
And then there's an Evil Dead Uprise that takes place in a skyscraper that's coming from Sam Raimi and Campbell. So they're not done with Evil Dead.
It's The Rock. Remember that? What was that skyscraper?
Yeah.
Where
Yeah. It's just
zombies.
It's gonna be Land of the Dead with Evil Dead.
When I was at my Doctor Strange, I went to go see Doctor Strange in theaters. Finally, I saw it through other means at first, and I'm like, I need to see it on big screen. And then someone in the theater was like, "Is that the Burn Notice guy?" I'm like, "Yes, yes it is."
The Burn Notice guy.
Take your fans where you can get them.
I mean, he probably is most known for Bird Notice. Like, really?
That makes me sad.
I don't know. Evil Dead's pretty. I thought it was popular. Maybe just me being ignorant.
I think so far the Evil Dead franchise is a perfect franchise because I've liked every movie they've made and I like the show.
For contemporary non-Raimi fans, probably Burn Notice is what they'll recognize him the most for. So
I also think it's because we're getting old, Justin.
True.
Because
Evil Dead was old when I was a kid, and then my dad was like, "We're gonna watch this." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, Tim's looking at Bruce Campbell right
those
now.
Those movies are like sailing away from us.
Yeah.
I know who Bruce Campbell is. Thank you very much.
I do want to congratulate you, Tim, on taking over Funny Science Fiction, like officially.
Oh, thanks.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a whole thing. So yeah, we in talking with Drayton Allen, who was the founder of the group page and the podcast itself, we just decided that based on interest levels, that it was probably best that I carry it on and continue on because I'm the one who has enjoyed doing it the most, and I'm the one pushing forward and all those things. And so, Nick's sticking around, and he's and I'm glad he is. Nick has been a very faithful companion throughout all of this, and he's our editor. He does a really good job at editing our video and audio and putting that all together. He's made some really cool new intro videos for us and trailers for our guests. He's really stepped up his game, and so Nick's done really well. And of course, Kathleen, my more intelligent and fun side, apparently, according to Jason. And so having Kathleen on is a big plus as well. So I'm glad that we have the core group moving forward.
Dude, you're killing it with guests too. Like recently, I tried to book Steve-O, and the manager was like, "Yeah, send us your stuff. We're gonna watch it." And then like a week later, he was like, "Yeah, Steve-O's busy right now."
I mean, we're shooting for the stars, man. Like Steve-O's a little bit bigger.
That
for
is
us
true, and they had just announced the Jackass series, so I'm sure that he is busy.
Oh, sure, yeah. You just throw things against the wall, and you hope sometimes that they're going to stick. And I use the Nerf gun approach. Just load up the Nerf gun and fire it all across the wall and see what's going to stick over there. We've been very fortunate. We've had some really cool guests as of late. We've got some really cool guests coming up, and it was kind of cool the other day. I reached out for one particular guest, this really cool voice actress that I want to talk with, who's done some Star Wars stuff, and I really love her work. And when I reached out to her agent was like, "Hey, how about this other guy as well?" And I'm like, "Yes, please. Didn't know you represented him, but yes, I'd love to talk to him." So, yeah, it was really very cool.
Voiceover seems to be the easiest to book. Do you find that to be true as well?
Yes and no. It depends on, and this is going to sound bad, and I don't mean it to, but there just like anything else in acting, there's A, B, C, D lists. Okay.
Yeah.
It depends on who you're trying to get. There's your top rung A list voice actors, the guys who are in absolutely everything. Like I can't get anywhere near Bradley Baker. I've tried. Trust me, I would love to get D. Bradley Baker on the show.
Rob Paulson.
We've had Rob Paulson. We've had Rob
That's
Paulson.
A-list.
He's A-list. We've gotten a couple, and I'm extremely grateful. Don't get me wrong, but they are very hard to get, and sometimes it's a matter of going back and trying to dip your pen in the well more than once. Not just throwing out an invite. I'll wait 3-4 months and then send another one. Hey, are they still busy? How about now? How do you like me now? What about now? Hey, can we be friends now? That kind of stuff. And
why don't you care about me?
Exactly.
Oh.
I just need someone to love me.
The people I reach out to have hit their podcasting limit, because by the time I reach out to them, they're like, we just did like 100 podcasts. We're taking a little break from podcasts. And it's like, oh, damn it. I missed my window of opportunity.
Yeah, but you got to keep swinging, because eventually you'll be in that window of people.
You want to know, honestly, when I send out interview requests, I don't say the Funny Science Fiction Podcast. I just say we'd like to talk to you on our show, Funny Science Fiction. Because I'm not trying to be deceitful, but there is also, to some people, there is a stigma with the word podcast. They automatically assume that you cannot be professional, that you cannot ask engaging or entertaining or insightful questions, and that you can't have a discussion that merits any type of value. They automatically deduct like 40 IQ points because you put the word podcast on the end of your show.
Or they watch ours and see that we're none of that. Just kidding.
But, when they watch ours, they see why I keep Kathleen around. So, it works out well for me.
Are you the podcast with Kathleen Watts? Oh, yeah. We'll come on your show. That's
exactly.
fine.
That's the only way I get guests. They're like, oh, you're keeping Kathleen on both of your shows. Oh, look, she's on Pop Culture Addicts too. Okay, yeah, we'll come on that one.
All right, so I wanted to go around the table and see what everybody's been watching. I recently watched Girl from Plainsview with Elle Fanning. And if you haven't watched this show and you're into true crime, I highly recommend it. It's about a girl who was dating somebody, and the guy had suicidal tendencies, very depressed, and it got to the point where he kept talking about killing himself and not doing it. And she was just like, look, if you want to do it, I'll help you do it. And then she ends up going through trials and so forth. It's a fascinating case. I highly recommend it if you guys want to check it out. And Elle Fanning is great. We were talking about Dakota Fanning off air, and I like the Fanning sisters, especially since they've gotten older. I think that they're pretty good at what they do. So that's one of the shows I watched recently.
Elle Fanning, she was a Super 8 one, right? In the Super 8 movie. Okay.
I believe so.
I was trying to remember if was that Dakota or was that okay.
They look very similar.
Well, sisters.
Yeah.
Well, same genes.
Same genes.
Minor technicality.
What about you, Dan? What have you been watching outside of Star Trek?
Well, season 4 of The Last Drive-In started a couple weeks ago. So I'm watching that because I love Joe Bob. He's great. They covered Anthropophagus, and I was very, very happy with that one. Let's see. I've been watching Halo, the series.
Mm-hmm.
Can't really tell you if I like it yet.
Well, you like it enough that you keep watching it, because I know
yeah. But then, I mean, there was I know what you did last summer that I just hate watched, because that was just like so bad every time. I just had to see how they'd screw it up more.
I liked that show until the end, and then I watched Scream, and I'm like, see, I should have watched Scream first, because Scream did what I know what you did last summer was trying to do, but they did it way better.
Because that movie or that series was just complete crap. But anyway, Halo, like I like what they're trying to do. I'm not sure, like it's got moments of brilliance in the story itself, in like certain shots, but overall I don't know yet. Like yeah, the new Star Trek as we talked about, I'm kind of digging that. That's about it, I think.
I got
Mike?
one more I forgot to mention.
Oh.
It's Midnight Mass. I just
Oh, it's
watched
so
that.
good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're
Yeah.
watching that.
Yeah, I'm
So-
glad you got around to that. That's cool.
So good. And all my religious friends and family, this is not a knock on you what I'm about to say, because I also identify as religious, but the fact that a whole community of extremely religious people would believe like a vampire outbreak was, people coming back to life in the like resurrection type thing or curing, 100% believe. And I think that he did a great job melding these two stories together. Like, I thought it was done fantastically.
Yeah,
Very good.
I'm glad you guys listened to my my upvote on that one.
Well, see, I really like the guy, so it was just a matter of time. The guy that made the show.
I use Dan's recommendation for my watch for sure.
I think Dan and
Hooray.
I were in tandem on
Yeah,
first seeing
yeah.
it.
Well, whenever you guys talked about it, I was like, I haven't watched that.
It's such a good slow burn. I mean,
It is. That canoe scene with that girl, I was like, oh
Yeah.
my god, we're gonna do this. Okay.
Couch scene. That couch
Yeah.
scene with that
Yeah.
girl too. I'm just like,
Yeah. She had a rough go of it.
yeah.
Mike Flanagan is the creator of the show. He did House on The Haunting of Hill House, and he
There you
did
go.
Doctor Sleep. And I big fan of what this guy did. He did Gerald's Game as well on Netflix, which I also enjoyed quite a bit. Mike Flanagan, and he puts his wife in everything, Kate Siegel, and they are a great duo. Like, this isn't one of those you roll your eyes like in Resident Evil or Melissa
Monster
McCarthy.
Hunter.
Melissa McCarthy showing up in all her husband's movies. This is a good pairing. I think these two work.
Wait
really
a minute. How dare you put Melissa McCarthy and Mila Jovovich in the same?
Yeah, at least she's talented.
I was just comparing. I was comparing that they work with their husbands, and it's not so well, even though they're both talented outside of working with their husbands.
It's nepotism, but it's nepotism that pays off.
Yeah.
It's the Coppola type of thing. Like, yeah, Sophia shows up in Godfather 3, and yeah, her performance isn't that great, but then you also get Nicolas Cage's career and a bunch of other Coppola adjacent people, thanks to him putting family in his movies. So
I'm glad we got Nicolas
Talia
Cage.
Shire and stuff like that. So
Yeah, but I'm not glad that she tanks Godfather 3. So
I mean,
without her, pretty much without her.
great director though. I like her movies
oh
that
yeah,
she directs.
yeah.
Yeah.
What have you been watching, Tim?
So let's see. I started on my daughter just decided she wanted to get involved in Star Wars, so we've been watching Star Wars over from the beginning, so that hopefully by the time we get to the release of Obi-Wan, she'll be caught up. I think that we're gonna make it. But personally, I was watching a show on HBO. I just started. I'm only a couple episodes in, but Our Flag Means Death.
Yes,
I'm a little late. I'm a little late to the get on this one because my to watch list is incredibly far too long. But I I can't stop laughing every time I watch this show. It's so stupid. It's funny, and it's not like brain dumb stupid. It's just like, how could you be so stupid type of humor. Reese Darby is fantastic in this show as the captain. Freaking love him in this, trying to be a gentleman pirate, and it's just, oh my, yeah, it's so awful. His performance is so very good, but I'm trying to figure out how to word this that you guys will understand what I'm trying to say. That his performance is so good at being awful that it's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
well, I don't know if that makes sense, but
he's based on it's a actual historical figure, right? That he's playing. Where
I think
it was basically like
more or
a
less,
a rich dandy who's posing as a pirate, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wanted to get away from his wife and kid and in a mundane life and do something exciting, and he's got I about spit my coffee when all these mean pirates are sitting around. Creating flags, and they're sitting there sewing on their flags, and they're all happy, and they're talking, oh, you can share that fabric, and I'm like,
Have you gotten to the Friends Party Boat episode yet?
not yet. I think I'm halfway through episode 4. Like I said, I just recently started this. I'm 3 episodes, full episodes in. My last full episode was them going to the island to try and get the people back or sell the people. I don't remember what it was, but anyway, all of a sudden he keeps on trying to say that he's going to sell something, and everybody's assuming that he's a pimp with his guy next to him, and he's trying to sell services, and the whole time I'm just sitting there dying of laughter. There's the jar of ears, or was it ears or noses?
Yeah.
But anyway, there's a jar of pickled something on the counter. It was either ears or noses. I don't remember which one.
I think it's noses, and not
Yeah, but the cast is awesome because it's not just Rhys Darby. I mean, of course, it's Taika Waititi is in it as well. There's a couple people from Saturday Night Live, like Fred Armisen's in it. He's got a bit part, but he's in it. I can't remember the lady from SNL, her name. I could see her. I could see her. Plays Fred Armisen's wife. But anyway, I've thoroughly enjoyed that, and I've gone back recently and started watching a show that I still don't, to this day, don't understand how it ever got canceled or why it got canceled, and I'm still pissed that it is. It only had 1 season. It's not Firefly, surprise, but also Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip with Matthew Perry and Bradley Whitford and Amanda Peet and I love that show. Recently just bought it back on Amazon as a digital copy, and I've been watching that.
That's Sorkin, right? Andy Sorkin?
Yeah, Aaron Sorkin. I love Sorkin's stuff. I loved West Wing. I loved Newsroom. Sports Night. I love his style of writing. I love the sarcasm in it. So.
I watched Jojo Rabbit last night and with my girlfriend, and we were both laughing a lot because he's funny in the movie. But I'm like, when I was watching, I'm like, oh yeah, there's that pirate show with him in it that I have to check out. So it's on my queue to watch as well. And I did watch Inventing Anna recently, and I hope that she wins all of the awards. She also played on Ozark, and she's a terrific actress. I am Googling the name right now. But those are both fantastic shows. Mike, what have you been watching?
I'm in a similar boat as you. I've got Our Flag Means Death queued up for today. Actually, I'll start watching because I am in the midst of a true crime podcast that's talking about Blackbeard.
Hey, so that's fun.
That the character that Rhys Darby plays comes up in the story, and I'm like, okay, I'm curious, like how much of this is going to be a complete farce, and how much they're going to be like, oh, actually, this is pretty accurate to who this guy was. Bonnet.
Most of it's a complete farce.
Yeah,
but didn't Blackbeard die of like some STD or something like that? Some disease. I'm trying to remember what was it. It doesn't matter. Keep going.
No, I think he had like a going out in like a blaze of glory.
Oh, did he? Okay.
I don't know. That's part 3 of the podcast.
All right,
but
tell me when we get there.
I've been watching. Past week or so, I've been watching both the documentary series and the dramatization on HBO, The Staircase. It's based on the mid-2000s documentary series that came out about Michael Peterson and did he or did he not kill his wife, or was it just an accident, and the whole trial and aftermath and stuff like that. I like both the documentary, and so far the dramatization works pretty well. Colin Firth, his accent, his American accent is a little distracting, but when you hear the actual Michael Peterson talk in the documentary, it's like it's not that far off. Like, he has a particular way of speaking, and Colin Firth is getting that. I like Toni Collette's presence just haunts the entire show. Schwarzenegger's son is in here, and he's pretty good. Sophie Turner's in it as his adoptive daughter, and she does a good job as well. Parker Posey's in it as a prosecutor that's like Nancy Grace to 11, and she really works on that level. And it's interesting. It's definitely not a feel-good type of documentary or drama series, but it works. So,
Julia Gardner is the name of the actress that I was talking about. She's terrific.
Yeah, she's the younger one, right?
Yeah.
She was in a movie called I think The Assistant that came out a couple years ago. That's a good movie too. Like she's really good.
So addendum to Our Flag Means Death. It's Leslie Jones. That's who
Oh, okay.
from Saturday Night Live. I
Okay,
could
yeah.
see her face. I could hear her voice. I could see her face. Could not think of her name, but Leslie Jones is in there, and she's
That's a
awesome.
fascinating couple, Leslie Jones and Fred Armisen.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. And as you see them play out, it's even more entertaining. And then since you brought up documentaries, I've also been watching one on Apple TV called Lincoln's Dilemma. It's about the Emancipation Proclamation. It's 4 episodes long. I'm just starting the 4th one. It's pretty good. It sheds a different light on Lincoln that I think a lot of people probably don't have. Everybody wants to see Lincoln in this way, but there's a lot more shades of gray over here that were attached to it.
Let me ask you. I watched Our Father on Netflix about the doctor who impregnated women with his semen. 94 kids now and counting. Is a lot of these documentaries, they are a little longer than they need to be. Does the 4-part one that you're speaking of, does it feel like it's too long?
No, because there's so much history there that needs to be explored, and this whole section of American history has been whitewashed so strongly anyway.
Oh yeah,
that there's some things that need to be brought up to the surface so that people can understand really what's going on, or really what did go on, and how different people's personalities actually were, and and looking at their private journals and writings and things that happened that weren't on a stage or a platform for other people to see. So it's actually kind of interesting.
They don't want to teach that stuff in school either. I was watching The Neighborhood, which is a comedy with Cedric the Entertainer, but they were talking one of the actresses on the show. She teaches at a private school, and they were threatening to pull funding if they didn't stop talking about slavery and racism. Yeah. And one of their parents was like, "If my kid is old enough to experience racism, your child is old enough to learn about racism." And it's fascinating that people don't want to learn the real history.
It's scary, actually.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Frighteningly scary. I mean, you've got that, with regards to CRT, and surprisingly disappointing a number of people who don't believe in the Holocaust and things like that.
Yes.
Scares the crap out of me.
That's great.
It terrifies me. But yeah, I agree with Tim on that. It's like, it depends on the subject, and what you were saying, if it warrants like multiple episodes. It's like, I think if it's presenting a perspective that's never been seen before or explored thoroughly enough, absolutely it can hold multiple episodes. Mm-hmm. And like I said, so long as it's nothing that on the initial watch you're kind of like, I don't know about this, like totally different thing. But like the Brittany Murphy documentary, I was out by like the first 5 minutes. I'm like, this is stupid. Yeah.
Or they focus on the wrong things, like the wrong part of the story. Like there's a whole fascinating story to be told there, but they're focusing on something else that you don't really care about. Like it's not important to the person, or it was just like one small part of their life, and they're blowing it up to be a larger part of their life.
In the case of the Brittany Murphy doc, it was having Perez Hilton be a legitimate source to talk to.
Oh,
it's like, yeah, I guess people really tore into her, and that drove her to some riskier things. I'm like, oh yeah, I wonder who did that, Perez.
Right.
Rick.
Yeah,
anyway.
That would have been enough for me to tap out right there. Him going, using him as a source. Oh, look at the time. We got a thing to go catch.
Coming up next, our source, Weird Al Yankovic. He's going to speak on the Holocaust.
That would be more reliable.
I would trust you.
That would be very reliable.
Yeah, I would trust.
Here's the weird thing about Weird Al. Like if you ever listen to the commentary on UHF, like you expect him to be funny and saying stuff. It's very like, this is where we filmed this. This is on, this certain road and this address, and there were 5 people there. Like the whole commentary track is just like exactly how everything was done. It's like that's just kind of funny.
Songs for a living, probably like does a lot of research and is very good at
it. Yeah.
I'm curious about that, the Weird movie. Like,
me too.
Because I don't think it's going to be a straight up like celebratory biopic or anything like that, or accurate even, because it's Weird Al. So
I'm having a hard time buying Daniel Radcliffe in a fuzzy afro wig.
I like it. I think he looks a lot like him.
I think it works, honestly.
Yeah, and that might be part of it too, is because it's Daniel Radcliffe that it's so off just a little bit. That's Weird Al's tastes. Like,
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm gonna watch it, and I'm gonna, I'll be there to see it. when I watched the trailer, because I was excited to watch the trailer, because hey, I've been a fan of Weird Al stuff since I was a kid. I mean, who doesn't like a song about farts and
Or polka.
And- yeah, exactly. And but yeah, I watched the trailer and I was just it threw me back a little bit. Radcliffe's a fine actor, don't get me wrong. It took me a minute to be able to buy into it, and I'm hoping that with the movie it's a quicker buy, that I'll be able to buy into it a little easier with him as Weird Al. With that, I think it was just the fro shell on his head that kind of threw me off. So
it's jarring. Yeah. I think it's trying to be like the Elvis trailer. It's portraying that as over the top and bombastic, but trying to do it in a sincere way, even though you have Tom Hanks doing this ridiculous performance as the Colonel. It's so you're kind of like, hopefully Weird Al's movie is that, except not sincere, except it's going to be aware of itself a little bit more and fun.
Hoping.
What have you been watching, Justin?
I think episode 10 was the last of the show, but for the season, it's Winning Time, the Lakers deal.
Oh yeah, I want to see that.
It's a lot of fun, but digging into it, it takes a lot of liberties, almost to the point where it's character defamation almost. I'm spacing on his name, but the guy that's the NBA logo,
Jerry West.
Thank you. He is he's suing HBO because of how poorly they depicted him on the show. And then we have a player that I learned that this was true. Has a hit out, or had a hit out on the coach at the time because he got cut. A bunch of wild stuff happens, but it make a lot of assumptions around drug use and things like that I don't know if unless they're 100% sure, that I would put out there. But I mean, it is what it is. It's a good story. It's a fun story. I would just take it a large grain of salt, whether or not it's true or not. But it's a fun story.
I saw Magic Johnson the other day speak out about it, saying that it was completely inaccurate. He said, but I still want to watch it because
it's going to be fun. You're going to like it. I don't know if I believe it.
Right. But half the time when people are especially with everything that the stories that did come out about Magic Johnson in his heyday in LA, when he comes out and says, "Oh yeah, that's inaccurate. That was because there's supposed to be a large portion in there about him being a womanizer and kind of
a ton of it. They don't. They don't really show him having sex, but it's just alluded. A lot of alluded.
Right. And he's trying to play that down. Oh, it's completely inaccurate. And I'm like, well, that makes me want to watch it more. If you're trying to hide. I almost feel like he's trying to, no, honey, I wasn't like that before I got with you and got the AIDS and everything else. Everything's fine. I don't know.
It's a fun watch. To that end, it's I don't know how much I believe of it, but either way, it's a good one.
Okay.
Speaking about pseudo historic shows, I kind of want to watch The Offer just to see why everybody just keeps panning it.
I've heard good things, some good things about
really
it. Yeah, I think it's got a high critic roll too.
You're the first time I've heard somebody
I haven't watched it.
about it.
I haven't watched it. Honest, I want to watch it because I like the cast.
48% Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh.
Yeah, I've seen so many articles just bashing it for being boring and untrue and not necessary. You know that your dramatization of history is in trouble when they say it's not necessary.
The actual documentary about American Zoetrope is entertaining. Like you said, that's the thing about historical fictional accounts of things. I don't know. I'll check it out definitely, but I don't know. Yeah. It's going to be hard to beat the Zoetrope documentary about Francis and George starting out in their films.
They probably would have done better had they continued with the family and done a mini series sequel to The Godfather. Probably would have been more well receptive if they did it right than a documentary about making The Godfather. Because there are Godfather books past the first three,
not written by.
No. There's they have an audition for an author to become the new Mario Puzo.
Yeah, it's like when the Millennium Trilogy dude died, and they had some other guy pick it up, and then you had the girl who caught something on fire or something like it's nowhere near as good. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious about the show mainly because I don't know a lot about that era of time, but I can totally see how it's unnecessary. And then there's like unnecessary good, like El Camino, the Breaking Bad movie, where everybody's like, it was good, but it was completely unnecessary. We don't need to watch it. That makes me sad though.
That's what I've heard about, like Many Saints of Newark and things like that.
Yeah.
Is that
It's definitely not needed for sure.
I heard it's good though. Again, with
it's a fine movie.
It was okay. I liked it.
But hey, real quick before we get out of here, we should probably talk Moon Knight too. But before we do that, I do want to go around the table real quick and everybody give your favorite Weird Al song. Start with Justin.
Probably what is it? Amish Paradise, whatever the Gangster's Paradise version is. Amish one.
Yeah,
That's what I always think about when I think of Weird Al.
Where I harvest my grain. I took a look at my wife and realized she's very plain. Yeah, good song. He almost got beat up by Coolio.
I know that caused a lot of beef, a lot of drama for him.
Yeah. Tim?
I have so many that I really, really enjoy, but I love this one in particular because I use it to annoy my wife. It's the R. Kelly cover, Trapped in the Drive-Thru.
That was going to be mine. I'll come up with another one. But it's like the most ridiculous 10 minutes, but he gets R. Kelly's inflictions. It's storytelling.
Oh,
I
laugh.
Because you're in.
I laugh every single time because we'll go on a car ride. And
Trapped in the Drive-Thru, man. It's so good.
And that's in my playlist. So I'll start the drive with that on the playlist, and my wife just will look at me like, really?
Tell me who that Paul is.
This is what we're doing, really?
Oh, it's so good. I agree.
Yeah,
so good.
I think it's like 12 and a half minutes, actually. It's rather... I enjoy all 12 and a half minutes of it. I think she enjoys about the first 30 seconds, and then she's done with it.
Yeah, my girlfriend, I played it for her, and she's like, what am I listening to? I'm like, have you never heard Trapped in the Closet? Like, this is so much better than that. And it's like so accurate to the original song. But
love it. It's great times.
Dan, what about you?
I'll go last, actually.
Okay.
Living with a Hernia.
Nice.
I like how dry you said that too.
It's the one that stands out in my mind, my memories a lot. Like, I think I was introduced to that in like second grade by a friend of mine, and like I would sing it all the time whenever I hung out at his house.
Well, mine was going to be Trapped in the Closet, but I'm going to go with another one that I really enjoy, and that's Don't Play That Song, that achy breaky song. I love it. I love it so much. It's so funny. I like most of his music. The Bedrock Anthem's pretty good too.
I mean, I could have let you have that, Jason. I could have gone with the biggest ball of twine in Minnesota. I mean, I would have been happy to pick that one too. So,
Nice.
The Night Santa Went Crazy, or Nature Trail to Hell.
Nice.
Totally, that fits Stan. Nature Trail to Hell.
I like that one. It's just so fun.
All right, let's take a few moments to discuss Moon Knight. Marvel fans keep screaming that they want something different, and then when we get something different, Marvel fans hate it. So, I don't know what to do. Like, Doctor Strange had elements of newness, and then Moon Knight had a lot of elements of newness. The only time Moon Knight felt like a Marvel show was maybe the last 10 or 15 minutes. And Moon Knight's also the first Marvel show not to reference anything else happening in the universe too. And a lot of people didn't like that either. It's like, you guys can't have it both ways. Either enjoy the same thing that we like, the formula, or give the storytelling a chance, right? Are you one of those
like
people?
Star Wars
Are people not liking it? Because people at work that I work with, they seem to really enjoy Moon Knight.
The hardcores seem to be really enjoying it, but like the casual Marvel moviegoers and TV watchers don't.
Well, I think part of the problem is that the casual fan wants something that they could sit down in front of and just pick it up and enjoy it like they did Captain America. Okay, they could sit down in front of Captain America and they could enjoy it without additional reference, right? But the difference here is that with Moon Knight, he's a lesser known character that has deep lore, and if you're coming in, kind of green to it, it's going to be confusing. And that, I'll be honest with you, I didn't know a ton about Moon Knight moving into this show. The only thing that I knew is that he was a really just kick-ass character on Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
All I knew is that people were screaming that he had to be Jewish. That's all I knew about Moon Knight going into this show. And
yeah,
I enjoyed it, and I get why people are hung up, because it can get confusing jumping between the personalities and so forth. But
it is confusing, but it does also tie itself together a little bit at the end. Although at the end, there's also more questions that are left open and a possibility for a season 2, So
that's another thing I'm getting tired of, is people pissing and moaning about Marvel shows not getting a season 2. Like, do you guys realize like what this all is? It's storytelling on a television scale between, like, every show is a next season to that previous show. Like, chill out. Moon Knight's going to show up again. He's probably going to show up in Blade or one of those future installments. And I thought Oscar Isaac's episode 5, I think you guys were talking about this on Funny Science Fiction, but give him some awards, because I think he did a great job.
He did phenomenal bouncing between, and they didn't expressly say that they showed Jake Lockley in episode 5. I firmly and strongly believe that they did, based on the differences in characters. But because Steven was clearly shown, Mark was clearly shown, and then there was this different personality that looked all beat up and also had some bandages across the bridging of his nose and things like that, who had a different accent, acted differently, all these different things. To me, that was Jake. But yeah, Oscar is phenomenal in this show. He plays all the characters well. He gives them all each individual personality gets its own screen time, and he shares it well with it. I was hoping for a little more closure at the end of episode 6. I'm still a little confused as to where we're at and what's going on with it. I was also hoping, like a lot of Marvel fans, I was hoping for a little bit of a tie-in to something else. I honestly thought this would have been a great tie-in to where we could have seen the Dark Knight from Eternals or the Black Knight, excuse me.
They had plans. They had plans to tie the MCU in the first episode and the final episode, and then the creator of the show got Marvel to let them remove it.
That's fine too. Again, it's not a bad thing to have these one-off shows, because that's really what they are. They're filler shows, in, like you said, in between the movies and things like that. They're I think these shows originally were designed as fan service to keep the fans happy between the movies, personally.
Yeah, 100%. But I'm curious, Mike, did you watch the show?
Yep. I think it's fine. I'm the same on all these Marvel shows and movies at this point. It's just like, it does its job and it's fine. I really did appreciate that it was sequestered on its own, kind of thing, and it didn't have a need to have to address any of the bigger MCU stuff, because for me that stuff can get grating. That's what grated me with the latest Doctor Strange. I'm like, we don't necessarily need these cameos. Like, this could have been something else entirely that ties in more with Doctor Strange's world than the bigger tapestry of Marvel. But that's what they do. I did like that Moon Knight was self-contained. I liked Oscar Isaac's performance quite a bit. I liked F. Murray Abraham as the voice of Khonshu. It was good to hear again. It was like, basically, someone said it was like Inside Llewyn Davis all over again, except this time they're superheroes. I need more shows in the daytime with a little bit of a poppier color palette from Marvel.
That was the one thing that drove me nuts about Moon Knight, is it was very hard to see some scenes.
Yep. I need more of the James Gunn, Taika Waititi approach to colorization in these other movies and shows.
Fair.
It's very just fair. Like, everything feels washed out. Honestly, Star Wars stuff could benefit from that too. Like, say what you will about the prequels, they're colorful. So I could definitely use something a little bit more vibrant going on visually in these shows and the movies. But other than that,
for Avatar 2.
What's that?
Very excited for Avatar 2.
Me too.
Very vibrant.
It looks good. I don't really have an investment in Avatar that much, but it looks stunning. So
Yeah.
Avatar 1 was one of my favorite theatrical experiences, but I've never really been a fan outside of the movie, outside of when I saw it in theaters the 2 times I did. But I am looking forward to 2 for the same reason. I'm looking forward to going to the theater and having something that's good to experience in a theater. Like, I don't need to take Avatar outside of the theater. If I can enjoy it within the theater complex, I'm happy. And it looks fun.
I get that.
James Cameron is pretty much 100% in like whatever he does. So I'm always, James Cameron gets the benefit of the doubt. Always.
I'm just glad, and just in a general conversational piece. So I'm just glad to be back at theaters and be able to go back to the movie theater experience, because not only because of the pandemic, but then because of also my daughter's health condition, we have to take it a little more cautiously. But like we went and saw Doctor Strange the other night, her and I. We went and saw the Batman. We went and saw a couple different movies together, her and I, and that's been kind of a nice experience to be able to get her back out to the movie theaters and enjoy that with her, because she's my little mini me. She's the female version of Tim, which is also scary, and but so she goes to all these little nerd shows with me to go do these things, and so it's just from that perspective, since we're talking about movie theaters, from that perspective, I am so glad to be able to go back to the theater and enjoy the theater and do all those things again.
Speaking of your daughter, I'm looking forward to Monroe too, because her and Max screaming at each other was some of the best comedy I've ever had in my experience.
Yeah, she's already mentioned that she owes him one. So
it's good stuff.
Yeah, she's excited to come back to Monroe again and hang out with all you guys and see who she can get to meet, and
Justin, what did you think of Moon Knight?
I think I'm probably leaning more towards Mike's opinion, right? I enjoyed that it was a standalone Marvel thing. I don't need to have everything tied together. I didn't mind that it was dark because the whole Moon Knight aspect of it. I love things based in Egypt. Like I'm a sucker for Egyptian stuff. So any setting that gets me into like a pyramid, I'm pretty cool with. So I was pretty stoked about it.
Justin's still waiting on the Mummy 4 to come.
Listen, the first 2 are good. Then for me, everything else.
I never saw the third one.
It did come. Tom Cruise. Did you not see
That's
it?
true.
That movie does not exist.
I was talking about with Brendan Fraser. But Tim, before we wrap up, give me 30 seconds on Doctor Strange. Your thoughts?
God, that's gonna be rough. Okay, so Doctor Strange. I didn't dislike it. But I did find it mostly to be an unsatisfying movie experience. There's none of the questions that I expected to get answered moving in were answered, and I thought that it also left the door open for more questions at the end. I liked the fact that they did have a couple of the cameos that I was expecting. I didn't like that they killed them off. So there
I love that. I love that because it showed how strong Scarlet Witch. I love that Raimi got away with putting.
That's true.
What do you think of the Raiminess? Do you think it was too much Raimi? Because I really
no.
Raimi.
It's a very okay. So for those who are going to watch it, it's a darker themed MCU movie. It is very Sam Raimi. That spoiler probably need to be up a couple seconds ago. But sorry about that, kids, if you hadn't seen it yet. Well, whatever. But no, I thought that it was a very good movie. I thought it was very well told. The biggest problem I have with the movie is that it's almost like Raiders of the Lost Ark. And John Wass and I were talking about this, Kathleen's husband. It doesn't really need Doctor Strange for all the things that happen in the movie that happen. It's more about Wanda. Doctor Strange is just a plot moving device. He is, there's a couple points in there where yes, he has to be there for this particular thing, but he could have shown up and had a cameo in it, much like he did in in some of the things with Spider-Man, where he just kind of showed up and goes, "Well, here I am. I need to move this thing. Okay, I'll see you. See you next week." It could have been that. This was more of a movie about Wanda and what was going on with her than it really was about
and
Dr.
America.
Strange.
America and Wanda were the 2 stars of the movie.
And I was hoping. America
not
Chavez.
The United States.
Yeah, not the United States, but America Chavez, who has a potential to be an awesome character. And I'm hoping what they're showing at the end of the movie is her learning the rest of her power and skill set, and that the next time we see her, she's actually going to be fully empowered and knows what she's doing, because she could be a super cool MCU character.
That was not 30 seconds, but I'm glad I
No.
got Tim's thoughts because when they talked
You-
about on Funny Science
I
Fiction,
can't
he
do-
hadn't seen it yet.
I can't
So,
do 30 seconds. I tried.
yeah,
It just
but
never works.
You got a whole hour tomorrow. You can check Tim out on Funny Science Fiction tomorrow live at 7 p.m.
Actually,
Oh, you don't have
no,
tomorrow.
we will not be
Uh-oh.
live tomorrow night. Tomorrow we will be doing a replay. We have the night off tomorrow. We're taking a let's call it a day off. That's what we're doing. So.
You know what we should do one day when we're taking a day off and Tim's taking a day off? We should swap shows and just like pre-record each other's shows. Just like have Tim write the show notes for the show notes that he wants us to cover on Funny Science Fiction, and then I tell him to do whatever he wants on Three Geeks, and we see how it goes. I think that'd be fun. But anyway, yeah, check out Funny Science Fiction. Check out Pop Culture Addicts. They recently interviewed Will Wheaton, which, like, kudos. I know that's a big get, especially in the nerd world. And you guys can find us at 3 Geeks Podcast, at 3 Geeks J. Today we are inviting some nobodies to pre-record a remake Revolution. They're going to do Firefly. I'm not going to say
Awesome.
a TV show or movie because they asked, and I said, you're rebooting Firefly. Like, do whatever you want with it. I know some nobodies has probably written like 4 seasons of it already before the recording
Only
today.
4?
So I am stoked. And also check out PowerPoint. I don't know the name of the show, but it's on Some Nobodies. They write PowerPoint presentations for each other. Nobody has seen what they're doing ahead of time, and it's all like improv and making it up on the spot. I got to do one on cryptocurrency, and I compared. Oh, it's great, funny stuff. And I just want to tell everybody, yeah, check that out, and check out the Star Wars thing that you guys did. What, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, they played the Star Wars RPG.
Yeah, we did that. That was actually my very first RPG. I've never played Dungeons and Dragons. I've never played an RPG of any kind. So that was my very first experience.
It's funny because when I was watching Funny Science Fiction, Tim's like, "Yeah, we're going to do this for an hour next week. We're going to play this game," and I laughed because I was like, "There's no way in hell." He's like, "We're going to do 2 hours just in case we run over," and I'm like, "It's 2 hours. That's probably not going to cut it."
4 hours.
That's because I had literally that much knowledge about what I was talking about, and they're like, "Yeah, we're just going to do this live." I'm like, "Yeah, sounds great. Okay, let's do it." Yeah, but it's been a lot of fun. I Kathleen bought me a set of dice so that I'd have my own dice, and then
That was nice.
yeah, that was really cool. And then Ben Riley, who's the Hardy Healer on TikTok, go check him out, guys. Ben's really cool. Does some really great content. The _Hardy_Healer, the Hardy Healer. Anyway, but he's big into RPGs and stuff. He just bought me a set of dice as well and sent those to me. So these ones, though, I'm pretty sure could classify as weapons because I think they're made out of metal. These things, like, they thud when they hit the desk. Like, I'm afraid they're going to go through.
You got a sock with those on the inside of it just in case you have someone entering your house.
Walk around spinning that around in a sock, just ready to whoop somebody up with them, man. Pretty sure you go to jail for those.
I imagine. Better roll for it.
Go to youtube.com/Mike McGTV. Mike has been doing a lot of fun short films. I really dug his last one that he did, like, especially. So definitely go check out his YouTube channel. Very different content than what he's done in the past recently. And I think it's very fun and good stuff and deep. A lot of deep stuff. So go check that out. And then, as always, if you want something that's not deep and silly and goofy, you guys can find us every Sunday live at noon, or at least a pre-recorded message. So
don't sell yourself short. You can do deep. We do deep on here. Yeah,
we've done deep. We've done deep. Occasionally do deep. Larry Hinkin's going to return to the live show in the next couple weeks. We have a lot of fun stuff lined up, and we will see you guys all soon.